Hi, my name is Ada from ProBalance Physical Therapy and Pilates in Alameda, California. And what I would like to do is show you how you can, first of all, find what our neutral spine is, or our optimal spine position is. And then we're going to use that position to be able to do an exercise called the quadruped. And the quadruped exercise is a wonderful exercise for learning where the spine is in space without having support from the floor. Also, it's a great way to learn how to organize the upper body and the head, neck, shoulders in a weight-bearing position, and also in a non-weight-bearing position as we're going to be lifting our arms and also the legs. So first, let's start with finding the proper alignment for your spine. So this is easily done in standing. So what you can do is place, I have a golf club here, a golf club, a dowel, a broomstick, anything that's handy, that's straight, works fine. And if you notice when I place this against the back of my head, the middle of my back, and at my tailbone, there's some spaces here. So in my case, there's a couple of spaces. I can put like 2 fingers in between my low back, or my lumbar spine, and the club. There's maybe about 3-finger space here between my head and the club up above. So everybody's going to be a little different here, but what I want you to feel, first of all, and you can do this in a mirror, is to first flatten your back against the club, okay, and that's what we call a posterior pelvic tilt, so we don't necessarily want to be here when we're trying to get to our optimal position. And we can arch the back the opposite way, and now notice how once again I can practically put my whole hand here, so that's the other extreme. So you can kind of feel the excursion of both of those places, and then find that little spot right in between where it feels like your pelvis, if you have 2 little bones here on your pelvis, they're no longer pointing down or they're pointing up. They're basically, everything is pointing straight ahead. So our pelvis is now in what we call a neutral or optimal position. So from this position, what you're going to do is, so for me it's 2 fingers. Let's see if we're able to get ourselves down into a kneeling position without losing it. So the first part of this exercise could be actually coming down, and you're going to get back as far as you can to your mat, and you're going to take a large step forward, okay? Trying to maintain that same position. And then see if you can lower yourself down, and notice how, once again, I've maintained that 2-finger distance. We go into what I call a tall kneel, and then from here, we're going to just hinge at the hip and come forward. So now if you notice, I still maintain that 2-finger distance in my lower back with my quadruped. My head hasn't dropped forward, but I'm now going to maintain that. So I'm going to take away the club for now, so now you've seen where my body is. And that's an easy way to find your optimal position. Now what often happens here is that people will start to sag in their shoulder blades, or their head starts to drop, or their low back starts to sag. So you've got to be able to find that neutral position. Once again, and like I said, you can always take that golf club or dowel and place it on your back. You got a ponytail there, the way. Place it there on your back. Come down. Okay, there's my 2-finger distance. So that's your position. So that's your checkpoint. Now from here, you want to think about lengthening out to the top of your head and your tailbone. And what we're going to start with is just allowing the right hand to reach as long as you can, trying to touch that mat as far as it'll go without anything else changing, and then bring it back down. We'll then do the same with the other side, just reaching that leg, reaching the arm long, and coming back down. We can do the same with the legs. We can reach it as long as you can without anything changing in the spine, and drag it back, and the same with the other leg. And if I had a little teacup here right on my back, that tea shouldn't be spilling, okay? So I want you to drag that hand along, because I want you to have the concept of length. I don't care necessarily how high the arm goes, I care that you reach out long from both directions, okay? So then we can go to just being able to float that hand up. So now that right hand is going to float. We're going to reach it out long, you're going to float it up as high as it will go without decreasing the space in your shoulders, and bring it back down. We're going to go ahead and lift the other side. As long as it will go, as high as you can get it without sacrificing your form, and back down. We can do the same with the legs. Reaching out one leg, and then reaching that leg up towards the sky without collapsing. Okay? And back down. Same thing with the other side. Reach long first, and then float, and then back, and drag it in. Now we can now add an alternating movement. So we're going to reach out long, and coming up as high as you can, and just hold that position, and bring it down. We'll do the same with the other side, reaching out long, Bring it up, float it up. Watch that we don't collapse, and bring it back down. So that's a really nice way to work on stability. You might repeat each one of those opposite arm, opposite legs for 5 times. You might hold it for a certain number of seconds. There's several different ways that you can alter that, but that's the basic movement. Now, going back to that quadruped position that we were at, this is a great position for just feeling where your abdominal muscles are. So from here, if I wanted just to work a little bit on some mobilization of my spine, I'm gonna start from my head, and I'm going to curl my head forward, and I'm going to just basically allow my low back to curl all the way down. So I'm now gazing in between the legs, and then I'm going to go ahead and curl it right back up, and then I'm going to reach the breastbone and allow my spine to arc up. Curling down, peeling forward, and then coming back from the bottom and extending the spine. So I want to watch I don't get too much head extension. That spine is just extending along with the rest of the spine. It's as though you're watching a little bug just crawling down along the floor, and it crawls along the floor again as you come back up. It goes on the wall in front of you, and when your back stops moving, so does the bug, and then you go down the other direction. Okay? So that's a nice way to work a little bit on just some mobility in the spine, just in a flexion and extension movement. Now you can also, from this position, do a little peek behind the shoulder, back to center, peek behind the shoulder, back to center. And that's a nice way to get a little bit of side bending component. All right? For golfers, a great way to get some rotation from this position is to take a hand, and I like to place the hand just behind the neck here. You don't want to be yanking on your neck, but it's just lightly seated there. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to first aim the elbow kind of through your arm, and then you're going to go ahead and you're going to open and just basically pivoting around your shoulder joint. And we're rotating around the thoracic spine, the mid-spine. Okay, so you can inhale. Okay, we can come back to the other side, placing that hand behind, watching that we're not collapsing the shoulders, but we're really pushing through the heel of the hand. And we're going to, once again, we're going to start with coming forward. And you can go down a little bit, or you can come above. It will give just a little different stretch, a little different sensation. Feel free to try both ways and experiment a little bit. But as long as you do not, as long as you focus on not collapsing and losing that motion, we're just rotating around that central axis. So as though I have that same golf club on my back, I'm merely rotating my spine around that, just as you might do in a rotational sport like golf, where you have to rotate around an axis. The reason why I have you place your hand behind your head is so what we don't get is this arm is flying up here and not a whole lot of rotation through the middle back. So I just place that here just to allow you to focus on trying to reach the sternum. If you have a flashlight in front of the sternum, you're trying to reach that flashlight up towards the opposite wall. That will help you get a little more rotation in the spine. Okay? So those are just a few, really just a few variations you can do off the quadruped exercise.